Perfect. Do turtles have friends? That's what I found myself wondering when I saw groups of turtles feeding like this. Just look at them sharing that big old carp. Anyway, I turned that curiosity into a research question. How does turtle sociality affect their community structure? And now you may be thinking, turtles aren't really that social of an animal, are they? Well, despite reptile social behavior being historically overlooked, recent research suggests that there are tons of amazing reptile social behaviors out there. We just need to start looking. And furthermore, understanding reptile social behavior can greatly aid in conservation efforts. So how did I go about answering the question of how does turtle social behavior influence their community structure? Well, I pulled on some waders and I went to go tromp around in a marsh. In this marsh, I placed big old turtle traps and baited them with sardines, the smell of which I became extremely acquainted with. I then pulled these traps and investigated which turtles were caught feeding with which other turtles. From this, I was able to make a social network of the connections between these turtles. This social network then allowed me to investigate 4 potential drivers of turtle social communities: species, size, sex, and friends. The first was for species. Although I found these species often feeding in multi-species groups, they would much rather prefer to feed with just their own species. And I'm sure we've all had to hang out with people we didn't necessarily want to, especially when food is involved. The second is size. In fact, it turns out that size is not a good predictor to how social a turtle is within its feeding groups. A much better predictor is actually species. And the turtles that I found to be the most social were painted turtles. And now it comes to sex. And this really surprised me. I was surprised to find out that these turtles showed no preference towards feeding with the opposite sex. This was super surprising because it was May when I was trapping these turtles, and May is one of the peak seasons for turtle mating season. So I guess this means if you want to woo a turtle, don't take it on a dinner date. And last but not least, what about my turtle friends? Even though I found out lots of amazing facts about turtles, I did not have evidence to support turtles having friends. However, I have not given up on the idea. I have tons of friends that I do tons of things with, but I don't necessarily always go out for lunch with. So do turtles have friends? Well, maybe. My research is a start, and there's still tons to explore and tons to learn. Thank you.